Hello again, Andy with Handy Andy Handyman, and we're out today in the Atlanta area, in an area that's looking to get annexed kind of near Brookhaven. And so we're looking at a 1950s ranch that's been updated in a lot of ways, but they've had a drainage issue, particularly at this corner right here. And it's funny in this business, like if you have water issues on your house, you can get estimates from the mold guys and the crawl space guys and the encapsulation people and all that stuff. But before you do any of that, or if you want to talk to those people, ask them about how you keep the water out of your house, because that's really the first place you want to start. And that's the same thing with this house. Someone came out and suggested you put a couple dehumidifiers under this house and put 2 sump pumps under here. It's a very narrow crawl space. This is old growth lumber on this house. It needs a certain level of moisture under there to keep the wood from dry rotting. So you got to keep your house healthy. A little bit of moisture is a good thing. Too much is a problem. And so what's been happening here is, design-wise, they didn't want to put a downspout. Whoever did this little porch entry didn't want that downspout there. It has to be there because you've got so much water coming over this area that in heavy rains, light rains, this works. This is 5-inch gutter. He's got some 6-inch on the back. All this needs to be upgraded to 6-inch gutter all the way around, and we'll combine it with a 4-inch PVC drain system that'll get the water to the front of the house, and just show you a few things that we could be doing here. But the inspection showed some dry rot here, and some, actually there's so much moisture in this corner that it rotted through into the base in the subfloor in this corner. We can sister that from below under the crawl space with pressure treated wood. We got to take away the water, and so we would pitch this gutter from this corner. This corner will go this way to here. This downspout will get turned onto the driveway, so the water will run this way. We're going to add a downspout here and tilt our gutter this way so it drains to the front right here. We'll catch some of that water, and then we'll keep it drained the way it is. Now, some of the things that people have noted on this house, I think it got hit by a tree here at one point in time because you can see where it pulled the vinyl corner out. This vinyl siding is probably 20 to maybe 25 years old. The tree damaged this inside corner, so that's another source of water. So we'll fix that for now, although this homeowner may end up pulling all the siding off and pulling everything out and putting hardy plank in, which we do a ton of. And that would do away with the leaks on these corners on the trim. Somebody came through. Always when you look at older houses, if you've got windows that have been replaced, take a hard look at them and how they're trimmed out. The window companies will sell you the windows and say, oh, we're not going to charge you to give you this nice finish. But the problem with aluminum around wooden trim like this is that it dry rots all the wood underneath it. And you can see by doing it this way, they took away the flashing. Someone's tried to seal above this window, and you can kind of see a corner right here that's open that water's getting into right now behind it. Inside the crawl space, it pitches a little bit this way, so any water that hits this side comes back through. These downspouts, there's a downspout right here that will continue to let drain. It's not draining against the house, although we'll replace the corrugated drain with a solid 4-inch pipe, and we'll show you what that looks like in a second. And then when we get around to the back, we'll show you what we're going to do over here, but we're going to terminate this stuff in this area right over here. As you come back through, and again, this is really just inspection repairs is all we're looking at. So this downspout right here, we're going to turn it this way. It sounds dumb, but right now half the water is going towards the house, and a ton of water is getting into this corner right here. They've got somebody else. We really need to add some vents to this thing, but they have a pest inclusion company that's coming out to screen these with better screening. You can see where some water gets in along the foundation right here, just a little bit. See the chunks right here? There's some water running across it and gradually eroding this area. So we'll seal this back up. And this is where we got the other problem over here. This is some of the gutters we're going to replace along this carport. This is an old concrete sluice. This is old farm boy solution like I would have. And the way they said it, if it's kept clean, which they never did, it would run around and drain to the front, which is what we're going to try to do with our new drainage. You can see in the last heavy rain, we had about a 2-inch rain in like an hour and a half, 2 hours the other day. And it finally forced all the junk out of this gutter off the carport. So everything on the house except this gutter right here is 6-inch on the back of the porch here. We're going to keep that. There's 2 downspouts right here that right now they just drain up against the house. And why people don't address this stuff is beyond me, but our plan would be to combine these 2. We're going to trench across the sidewalk to here. We're going to come across this way underneath the porch and pick up, you can kind of see a window through here. We're going to pick up a downspout on that side and bring it here and get it out of the yard. I'll show you where they're draining that right now. And so then we'll trench under this fence right here, and run it along the sluice. This 6-inch gutter back here on the screen porch is fine. Back here, you're gonna see a pipe under the bushes right here. So even if this thing does work, which is picking up both of these downspouts right here, so right now the whole back of the house drains to right here. And guess what? You can see the force of the water. It's disturbed the pine needles in this area. The rest of it's running right back towards the crawl space. Once it gets to the crawl space, it's inside. You can see the topography back here. They got a hill in the back, so all this water comes down through and it drains. This was an old house, and so the old farmer boys made a swale through here. You can kind of see the land, and the water runs this way. But when they added this huge porch back here, they didn't do a very good job of tying into the drain system. So they've got this new 6-inch gutter right here. There's no kick out flashing in this corner at all. So we pull this gutter out, we'll find out the damages, but you can see that the soffit is all rotted up under this area here. The kick out flashing is what bridges the gap between that gutter and the fascia board. Should be cut and sealed into the fascia. They just have this drip guard at the top here, splash guard to keep the water from coming over. But there's so much water that hits this one downspout, takes a third to a fourth of the rear roof back here, all right here. And then they've got this thing jacked up where these two downspouts are connected with this 4-inch pipe. Our plan would be to take this 4-inch right here in this corner, run it under and diagonal to catch what we were showing you on the other side of that screen porch. And then back here from this section on would be new 6-inch gutter all the way around to the front, keep the downspouts where they are, and then come down along this line with 4-inch pipe. And some of it's going to sit right against the foundation. And we can actually slot some holes on the top of it so it can catch rainwater here. And then we'll just spray paint it black and let it catch this downspout right here. The way this is set up right now, all this water is going right against the house right here and back under the foundation. This is an addition. This was built, it wasn't permitted back when it was built. Probably weren't permits needed back then, but there are absolutely no vents underneath this crawl space. Over time, it's gonna start dry rotting. We gotta get some vents in there somehow and get it aired out. You got a long 60-foot section of gutter down this side, right about where you've got this trim piece where the new addition starts from the old house. We'll run another downspout. And again, all this will be connected with 4-inch drain pipe to get this water up and out of here around the front. And for now, we're gonna drain it into these bushes right here with the caveat for the homeowner that if it becomes a problem of putting too much water on the neighbor's yard, which right now, if it gets to the neighbor's yard, you can see how they pitch the driveway. It's all running back to the street right here. This neighbor over here has a downspout that you can actually see all the water. Some of it's going back underneath his deck back here, and some of it's just sitting right here until eventually it dries up. But we've got enough room here to come across. You don't have much ventilation on this house. That's another problem that we can address later. There's a few gaps in the foundation. There's one back here in this corner that's getting water inside. You've got a couple spigots that are unsecured through here. But once we address this part of the drainage issue, that solves the crawl space issue. And then you're not putting pumps down there that no one's gonna maintain. This crawl space is like 18 inches deep down to probably 12 inches or less. So who's gonna go down there and maintain a sump pump, a dehumidifier, and all these things that people start proposing? Doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's a great house. It just needs a little love and attention, and that's what we do. My brother and I have been running this company for almost 30 years. We've got 20-some guys working here right now. We do a little bit of everything from handyman to full service stuff. Most of our work is just common sense, and that's what we do. Little things that we can do on this house. The chimney cap up here is starting to rust through. We can just go ahead and seal coat it with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum. It'll save you having to replace it. But the biggest issue on this house, and this one was twofold. One was the drainage is a huge issue. The crawl space we can solve by doing the drainage. And then the wiring. The wiring has a number of issues in it. They need to replace this main service. It's frayed, it's old, it just doesn't meet today's code. It doesn't have an outside disconnect. All those things that you really want to have in your modern house. But they got a very good price for that from another contractor. But we can do everything else. So there we are on that one. I'm Andy. We'll see you at the next house. Bye for now.